Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume our complete beginner's guide to mind over magic, shall we? You could see that it is 11:18 p.m. at night, and people are working, and there's still many concepts for us to unpack, and let's talk about, well, their schedule. So in the bottom right, you could set class schedules, but this actually applies to everybody. So it's not just class schedules, it determines also what the staff are up to. And everything revolves around people teaching and going to class because it is school, but currently we don't have that. And when you click this button, it opens up the schedule window, which shows you what the group's initiates, apprentices, and staff are doing. These are preset groups that you will start with. You can make more groups, which we'll talk about later, to specialize schedules even further. But what you see here are some icons, and these buttons running along the top explain this, which is this is when they will sleep, this is when they will eat, the fork and knife, recreation, they don't even have time set for that, tasks, and class. So currently, the only people I have are staff members, and you could see where it says staff right here, all three of my members who are staff are shown here. And if you have initiates or apprentices, they will show up, and people who belong to different groups will show up to tell you what schedule that they are working. So they're set for 6 hours of sleep from midnight to 6 a.m., which is fine, which means they're about to go to sleep. And you can see that, all right, from midnight to 6, they're going to sleep, then they wake up and eat, then they're going to do class, which is class time, but if they don't have class time, then they'll do tasks. And then this is specifically time that's set aside for tasks, and then eating, and then tasks before bedtime. Now, early game, you don't have to mess with this too much. But there are things to consider with your scheduling, such as travel time, for example, between different jobs that they might have, especially once you set them to very, very specialized labor. Like if you have somebody like your lightning mage, for example, who is pretty much only doing research, then you know, okay, well, they're going to go up there and do that. And if I have them up at this room doing research, and then they need to go across the school to recreate, that's going to take time, so I need to budget that time in. And that will become more obvious as you get more people and your school gets bigger. But for now, this is okay. I just want to show you where this is. And this schedule is the starting schedule. You could tinker with this, but I'm probably okay with this. However, I don't like, just say for example that they do tasks and then they eat and they do tasks again. I'm going to go ahead and flip-flop that. So I'm going to say, you know what, why don't you eat and then do tasks to reduce travel time. So instead of just like going out, doing a job somewhere, then coming back inside and eating, and then going right back out to doing the job, we'll go ahead and after class eat, then stick on our jobs. Once we get some options for recreation, we will set recreation, but we don't have that right now. So I'm going to just make that very small alteration in the schedule like so. And then when recreation comes in, we will tinker with the schedule a bit more. Okay. So I'm going to unpause it, and you could see that they want us to learn about keywords. These are just the tutorials. And room keywords are the, well, we'll look at them, but they are the words that are kind of in orange that you can mouse over, and they are starting to indicate the requirements for what the room needs. So, you know, does it need to be towered, or does it need to be private? Does it need to be quiet or silent, or does it need to be pristine? Does it need to be something where there's only one entrance, or Does it need to be of a certain height? Does the roof need to be skewed? All of these things, and you can mouse over the keywords to understand what those are. And this is a lot of the game. This is why your construction costs are refunded, because you have to change your school to adapt to the more sophisticated rooms and to get the rooms working. So I'm going to get out of this window, and school expansion says once the foundation is full, there are still many options for expansion. The easiest way is to expand up, correct. And you could place new construction on top of old without removing it, which means like they'll automatically queue up demolish for those things. And we can actually build out beyond the foundation on the upper levels, and I'll show you that really quickly. We're not going to do it right now, but let's just say I wanted to build a floor. Even though I can no longer build the floor on the ground here because the foundation doesn't go this far, on this second floor, if I start a floor here, I can actually build out all the way till it goes yellow this far and create a floor right here. So my second floor, it can be wider than the bottom floor, even without any arch support underneath it. We can get arch support later to put from the ground up to here to then extend this even further out. But for now, it's important to note that we can make this taller, and we will. The reason I didn't do this yet is because it's kind of a pain to make a roof go from the extension on both sides. You need to build some supports and things. So this was just an easy way to get that roof in there. And we'll change that as we go. You can see now that this mage wants to recharge their wand. And it might be worth our time to push the fog back. It's creeping up. So let's go ahead and do a repel fog ritual. Now this one is actually, remember how it only took 5 minutes before? That's because the fog was consuming everything. Now that the fog is further away, it takes more magical power, is how I like to think of it. It's a more complicated spell to get the fog back, because the further you want to push it away, the more space you want to make in the fog, the harder it is. But this means we can assign all of our staff members to this ritual. You just drag them over from this panel over here. You could even put the ghost, can you? Yeah, you could put the ghost on here if you need, but the ghost doesn't get experience. This is an opportunity for all of these mages to get experience, so let's just do it, and I'll begin the ritual. So they'll stop everything, and they're going to come do this. You can see they're gathering the ingredients. There's the gut berries. They picked up the wood and stuff that we need for this. Now, Dorian is like there, not actually helping and getting stuff, which is, fine. But we have an idle staff member, which is our ghost. So let's get some more jobs queued up. Now, I can just take gather, and I could just start clicking on all of this. I could be like, hey, let's go. Give me everything that you could see over here. And then, what else do we have over here? Yeah, give me these too. Great. All right, now I got a bunch of jobs. And they'll do the ritual. Once they get all the ingredients, I'll speed it up. There they go! Boom. So now, you could see that Dorian is actually now level 4. They got 5 more hit points, 5 more mana, 3 more power, and 3 more speed. So that's amazing. And the fog is pushed back further, and then there's more stuff that we can gather over here. There's also a murky crystal that we want to get this smoke pearl out of, so we need to mine that. Anything cool over here? Yeah, a couple murky... Oh, a dull crystal. Okay. So, a dull crystal is even better. It has a potential rug or something inside. So I'm immediately going to set this to mine, and I'm going to set the priority to priority 5. Remember how we used the task priority... I like to call it a brush, to kind of paint over what we wanted? Well, to raise the priority... You can also just click on something and raise the priority down here on the slider or the gauge to top priority. So that is, the ghost is probably going to come do that right away. Yep. And the other mages are asleep because this is their sleeping time on their schedule. And you could kind of, tilt the house and look in there and watch them, and they're sleeping. And we got a rug. It's an occult rug. So, let me see. Where are you going to put this? Here it is. It's in decor under inventory. It's a violet rug. It adds creepy luxury. So we don't really need this right now. Because we don't need luxury or creepy luxury. We're not really worried about that. But that's cool. It's been shrunk. So once people shrink things for moving them around and storing them, we're just going to go ahead and click enlarge and put this rug. I'm going to put it in the bedroom just to kind of, add a little spice in here. Tie the room together. When you're placing, you can use page up and page down keys to rotate. I'm going to put it right there. You can always pick it up and move it when you're done. It's not a top priority, though. So if you want that to get done, you could be like, hey, let's go. And now here it goes. I upped the priority. Bam. Look at that. Now, what does that do? Well, it looks cool. It has a skull. It creeps everybody out. But let's talk about rooms now with this in here. If I click the room lens, we briefly looked at this. But when we zoom out, it tells us what all of the different rooms in our school qualify as. So we have 3 basic school rooms, and then we have this austere bedroom. And if you mouse over the room, you could see, you could click to select it, and then it tells us what it does in the window on the left. It gives us this conviction bonus. It tells us what keywords it currently has. These are not necessarily the keywords that the austere bedroom requires. These are just the keywords of this particular room. So it's grounded, which means it's on the ground floor. It's silent, and you can mouse over silent to see that it means it's not adjacent to a rec room, a workshop, a ritual room, or a classroom. And it has an open back, which means it has no furnishings on the back wall, such as windows. It doesn't mean that it's exposed, it just means that there's no furnishings back there. And then grounded doesn't mean it touches the foundation or it's underground. So this is an austere bedroom. This is a schoolroom. But what kind of a room is this, and do I want to change it? So before I mess with that, you could see the total luxury of this room is 3. And you could see what's giving it bonuses to luxury and what's decreasing its luxury. These torches are unfortunately not luxurious at all. They reduce luxury. But the rug adds 3 basic luxury and 1 creepy luxury. And then the room, or the door, adds basic luxury. That would be a big difference between an archway and a door, is the luxury. So the archway has the advantage of being free. However, if you want luxury, go ahead and build a door. It just takes some wood to do that. Now, I'm not too worried about luxury for the austere bedroom. And why is that? Well, I'm going to open the Book of Rooms. So in the bottom right, when you have the room lens open, you can click on the Book of Rooms. And in the Book of Rooms, you can see all of the different types of rooms there are and what they take. So if I go to the bedroom tab, austere bedroom is the simplest. And all it needs are in the must-have. It must have 1 or more cot, which it does, and it can't have anything else in here. It can't have a medical bed, a ritual sigil, a dining table, a teaching station, research or crafting stations, any of that. So it just is a place for sleeping, and it doesn't need any luxury. Now, if I wanted to make this a dormitory, it gives more conviction to student sleepers, but not to staff sleepers. So for my staff, I'd actually rather have a bedroom. But to get a bedroom, it needs to be silent, which this room is, but we can't have cots. We need beds. We need a window, which we don't have. And we need 5 or greater total luxury. And the benefit, of course, of doing this is more conviction to our sleepers. Remember, if I click on, I'm going to push escape to close the room lens. Always close your lenses when you're done with them because you can't do certain things if a lens is open. And I'm going to click on Dorian, for example, and then open their mage sheet. So when you have a staff member selected in the bottom left, there's a button to open their mage sheet. And this is what this looks like. It gives us a lot of the information we talked about at character creation. It shows you in the bottom center what relics they have equipped and if there are any available to attune to. What potions they have equipped? They have none. They have an unknown quirk that we have yet to identify. Quirks get discovered as interactions happen. We also can see right here their magical skills, okay, they're maxed here, and their experience level, what wand they have equipped. Here's again their experience over here, what their kind of aptitudes are. This is showing where they are in terms of being an initiate and what their path was. Did they become an apprentice or did they just go to being a staff member? Okay, so that's all very good. If I want to see their conviction, however, it's not on the mage sheet, although this contains, a bunch of fantastic information. We're going to push escape, go back to the window on the bottom left, and underneath mage sheet, you're going to see status and conviction. This will show you a breakdown of all of their different statuses, their positive and negative, blessings and curses that are affecting them. So their conviction right now is 68. And you could see also their satiety, their hunger level, their sleepiness level, like how they're doing in terms of sleep, and their recreation. They're currently craving recreation, so we'd love to do something about that. In fact, those are their main negatives. -10 on their conviction because they have no recreation, and -2 because they didn't eat in a dining area. But everything else is good. They for 2.1 more days, they have +10 for being a new hire. They performed a repel fog ritual, so they get an extra +5 for being the steward. They have a base conviction bonus, and they're not suffering any minuses for being hungry or not having enough sleep, for example. So they're doing fine. You could see if you get into these categories, they start to blow up, and then here it gets really close to a mental break. So this is where you can just check their conviction and manage it. At the beginning of the game, it's hard to really have a high conviction because we don't have nice features, but we're going to try to get there. Okay, so we've broken up this room into a bedroom, and now we have a central stairway, and then we have a room over here. What do we need rooms for? Well, what are we trying to do? We're a school, so we want to bring in a student, and we want to teach them in a classroom. So we might say to ourselves, well, I need a classroom, and I also need some workshops so that I can craft wands, for example, and do research, for example. So there's a lot of things that I want to have happen, and they don't all have to happen on this first floor. In fact, they won't. And this bedroom, we can retrofit at any point to something else if we want to move these beds around. So in this room over here, the first thing we need to do is go to build, and then we're going to go to crafting, and we need to build an arcane secretary so we can do research, and a wand shaper so we can make wands. So I'm just going to select a arcane secretary and put this in. Now you'll see that the blue is where it will go, and the green are the squares that need to be free for somebody to work at this station. You can rotate it to put it along one of these walls. You could put it along the back wall. You could even put it up in the front. Just make sure you don't block a doorway with it. So I'm going to go ahead and put a wand shaper right here. Right click, and I'm going to put, I'm sorry, that was the arcane secretary. I'll put that there, and over here I'll put the wand shaper. It just touches the ceiling, but it's okay. It clips through it slightly, but it's big enough to fit this. 4 is generally big enough to fit most furniture early game, if not actually all furniture early game. And then I will be able to do these two things, and this is all I can really make at this point. For teaching, I need to make a learning stone to make a classroom, but we're going to build that on probably the second floor of our school, and we'll do that once we kind of break this up into rooms. But we don't need it right now because we don't have any students. So I'm going to unpause it, and you see this orange bar above the staff members. That's their kind of like fatigue bar filling back up as they rest. And we're at top speed overnight, and as the new day is emerging, things are happening. For example, trees will grow that were just like this tree is almost fully grown. More rats will come in. Other plants will grow. And the ghost is building these workstations. Okay, so remember how we were just talking about quirks? Look at this. Dorian prefers sharing a bedroom with Vincent, and Vincent likes sharing a bedroom with Dorian, which is convenient because they will be doing that anyway. So this is a quirk that was revealed from an interaction, and if we go, let's just say we go into Dorian and goes over here to their mage sheet, you could see one of their quirks is that they enjoy sleeping in the same room with them, and they don't like it if they don't get to sleep in the same room. They're both staff members, so we're always going to be grouping them together anyway in bedrooms, at least early game. So that's a good thing, because if I push escape again and I go to status, open the status panel, you can see some benefits going up here as their conviction has gone up. It's on the rise. The target is 70.5, which is 2 above where we are right now. And it's rising because you can see that they slept in an austere bedroom, which helped them 2.5 conviction for having that nice little bedroom area. And I'll unpause it. So it doesn't appear that, let me look at Vincent. Yeah, it doesn't appear that we see a huge benefit at the moment for satisfying their quirk, but it really means more like they don't want to sleep apart, so we'll see probably a negative effect if they don't sleep together. They also will be upset if Dorian dies or leaves the school in some capacity. Okay, so we just built the wand shaper, and they're telling us that we don't have any wands built, which is true. And they want to tell us about crafting, how to do this. And we'll talk about the crafting tab as we look at the station. And they also want to tell us about the ritual to summon students in the basement here. But you have to have a wand to summon a student. So let's look at how to do that. I'm going to click on the wand shaper. And at the wand shaper, the easiest way to use this is to just, it opens up the wand crafting panel by default. Just click on plus add wand order. And now we need to build wands. All we can build right now are level 1 wands, and they take 25 nature work to do this and 30 wood for a fire wand, for example. Some of the other wands take different ingredients, which we have. We can make all of these. I would like to make an if I'm thinking about which students I want, we want to make wands for students that we don't yet have an element for, so that we can train that student and then promote them into a staff member, hopefully, to do jobs that are associated with that element. So the first one I want to get is an earth wand for mining and construction. Remember how I said, like, you could go fire, you could go earth, and either one, I mean, they're just all good. But I'm going to select this. And once you've selected earth wand, you'll see it here in the crafting queue. And it says we're going to make 1 do X times, and X is 1. So they're just going to make 1 earth wand. And that is fine for now. However, you could set this by clicking this drop down to do until X, and do until you have 1. So it says you have 0 out of 1. So they're going to do it until we have 1. And this will make it so that we always have an Earth Wand on hand, which I like. I like to have 1 of every level 1 wand on hand, just in case I need to summon someone right away. And you could even have more than that if you wish. You can queue up more wands right here by just clicking another wand. And let's say, okay, well, we're also going to want probably, an air wand and a water wand, for example. So let's get an air wand in here. And again, we're going to say do until you have 1. And if you want to change them, you can just grab them and drag them up and down on the queue. But I'm going to keep Earth Wand on top. And then I'm just going to push escape. Now, you could change who has access to this crafting station if you don't want anybody else working here. And you could change the priority of it. But remember, that would be the priority of crafting against all other crafting instances. But we have set the priority for Dorian to craft wands at a high clip, and it's to the furthest left. So they're actually going to, once they're done with their job, they're going to go do this right away. And that's good enough. I don't need to set the priority of the workstation any higher at the moment. You'll see Dorian actually come in here. Dorian might need to gather the resources. Oh, okay. And we have a spectral rift. I'm going to click on it. Where is it? It is here. So what is the spectral rift? So the spectral rift is a lesser chest smasher will come through this rift and attack our school. So this is like a random event that can happen. And this is going to summon some monster that will come in and attack us. However, we have 3.7 hours to fight this, go into the rift and fight the monster before it comes in and does any damage to our school. And if we preemptively destroy it, we get some experience and potential rewards, and then we don't suffer its consequences. So we're going to go ahead and fight this. Now, before you fight it, you can click Start Battle, and it's going to show you what's inside this fight. You're not doing anything right now. You can just, for free, without taking any time, with the game paused, without committing anything, you can click Start Battle just to see what enemies are in here. And these chest smashers are both resistant to lightning and weak to earth. So unfortunately, we don't have anybody who does earth damage, so we're going to do normal damage to these level 6 chest smashers, and our lightning mage is only going to do half damage against them. But we don't have any, that's okay. We have to fight this battle because we don't want them to come in and wreck our school. So what we're going to do is immediately assign a battle. Now, the battle works like this. There's 2 front row spots and 2 back row spots. So whoever you put in the front row can be hit by most abilities. Now, AoE stuff can hit you in the back row. There are other spells and abilities that can target the back row. But usually back row people are much safer than front row people. So you want to put in the front row your stoutest warriors. So both of our, that's why I like Vivified so much, because look how many hit points they have. So we're going to drag Vincent, put them up in the front, and Barrett and put them there, and Dorian will put safely in the back row. Now everybody, the ghost can't fight, everybody is here and ready to go. We don't have any potions that we can use. We don't have any extra stuff that we can bring into this fight. We're just going to do a basic battle, and we're going to click Begin Battle. And what you're going to see is that everybody's going to drop what they're doing and come fight. So you notice how I had the checkbox in the bottom right corner, recharge mana before fight. That was checked because we want them to have full mana going into the battle. You can uncheck that if you need to go really fast, but you don't typically want to go into a battle without your mana. So now we've got our mana full, or getting full from everybody, and they will wait for each mage before they start to fight. And here we go, we're diving into it, our first battle. So these battles are entirely turn-based, and you could see at the top ribbon the turn order. So Dorian's going to go, then the chest smashers, then our really, really slow Vivifieds will get to go. So we do here nature damage, which they are neither strong nor weak to. And we have 3 choices. These are our 3 level 1 spells. We can attack and apply thorns to the targeted position. We can add 10 power to allies in the targeted row, or we could do swirling vines to attack an enemy and swap their position. This is the most damaging of the abilities that we have. So, you say, well, what are thorns? Just lock in the tooltip, and thorns say 10% max hit point damage when moving out of or ending a turn in this combat slot. So even though this only does 27 damage, and then damage it does is in red right here, this is how much mana, 14 mana, 27 damage, and the icon to the far right is the element type. If I click on this and hit this guy, we do 27 damage, and you see we applied the Thorns ability right here. Now, notice they had an ability that can target the back row and bounces around a little bit. So even though Dorian's in the back, they got hurt. But you could see these enemies really don't hit us that hard. I'm going to use Fireball too on this enemy right up front here. So they took 33 damage, and they will take 10% of their max HP, which is 111, so they're going to take like 10 damage from the thorns. Now, I could bolt them. However, I could also use Inspiration to buff one of my characters so that they get a guaranteed crit on their next attack, and will take out this guy. I'm actually, and go faster. I'm going to inspire my Nature Mage right here, because if I would attack with the lightning, it does half damage, so it almost does nothing. But if I do Swirling Vines, it's going to crit. It does 47 damage. It'll kill this guy in the front, and it will swap and bring this guy up into the Thorns area. So crit, 94 damage, brought this guy up. He does hit us again, but he's going to die to a Fireball very easily. So I'm just going to use Fireball here, and we win. And we got a crit anyway. So once we win, you could see that everybody got experience, and we also got 8 smoke pearls and 9 ectoplasm. Every ingredient or recipe, or I'm sorry, every material is useful in some way, so that's fantastic. And we stopped the bad guys from coming in. However, you see that they're telling us we need medical rest, like everybody's hurt. So mages at low hit points will suffer conviction penalties and have a misfire chance. Now, none of these people are at their hit points are that tragic. Even here, you could see that in pain means that because they're below 80% health, they're getting a big minus. So this is unfortunate, but there was nothing we could do. So this tells us that another room that we want to build is a medical room. But let's just say, okay, well, I need a medical room. I need these people to recover. This is very natural early game. How do I do that? Well, what we want to do is go back to the Book of Rooms and go into the medical rooms. A nurse's office is the most basic. All we need is for the room to be silent, so we need to worry about its position. And then we need 2 medical beds. And medical beds, how do I make a medical bed? Well, I need to research a medical bed, and I need to create medical beds. So that's going to be something that we need to do. In the meantime, though, we're just going to have to deal with the fact that they're injured. And it's really no big deal. Okay, so now the research bench is done, and no research is selected. We also have idle staff. So that means that we need to queue up some more activities for people to do. So I haven't even done this yet, but let's do it. Let's go ahead and set these for mining down here and see if there's anything else up here that we want to get. Okay, yeah, sure. These are ice flowers. Yeah, we could use that. Absolutely. I'm going to double click on as many rats, get them to hunt as I can. Yep, there's a bunch of stone that has emerged. So let's go ahead and mine out this stone. We're going to need a bunch of that. This smoke reed, I'm going to double click and get all that too. Can I get this? I can. Get me that tree. And don't sleep on the gut berries. I'm just going to gather... Oops. Click the wrong button. Gather these. Perfect. Okay, so now I've gotten a bunch more jobs assigned. And we need to do research. So this is the Arcane Secretary. You could click here and just click Open Research. And zoom way out first with the mouse wheel. There's Growth in Soil. There's Thunderous Inspiration. You can scroll down with the S key. There's... or you can left-click and drag. Sizzling Flames, Healing Waters, Death's Domain, for example. And so, let's say, what I want is the medical bed. So I can type up here, medical bed, and I could search for it, and it's right here. It's the first thing, critical care. So I'm going to add critical care to the research queue. But let's see what else I can make. A gruel pot is good for cooking. I'm going to queue that. It's our first thing to cook with. We can domesticate gut berries. This allows us to create planters so that we can grow and cultivate our own gut berries so that we don't ever run out of them for rituals. Very, very good. Dancing the night away. Well, we probably want an enchantophone so that people can do some recreation. Put stuff here. This is storage. We definitely want this. I'm going to add all of these here. Let's see. What else do I want? As a grave. Grave is okay, but it's not vital. Domesticated gut berries is fine too. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, and basic ritual allows us to hire new staff and graduate, so I want that queued up. So I'm just getting all of these here. Now, critical care is incredibly important, but I'm going to put it right behind put stuff here. Put stuff here is, we just have to be able to build chests so we can start storing things so that they don't get destroyed by the rain, and we can optimize our logistics a little bit more. After that, I'm okay with this ordering, and I'm of research. Now, you could poke around here, you could search it, you can look around, and you can, put more things in your queue or rearrange however you like, but that's fine for me. And I'm going to just let it go because our researcher, Barrich, is going to be doing this pretty much nonstop. A wand is being made, research is being done. And it's telling us we have no students, and we don't. And we can get a student because we have an earth wand. So I can click on the student summoner, and I can click summon initiate. Now, summon gifted initiate we can't do because we don't have gnosis shards. And honestly, early game, it's not worth worrying about gifted initiates at all. It's a waste of shards. That's for later. Just summon a regular initiate. Don't use your researcher, and don't use your wand creator right now. Use Vincent. And once we put a teacher here, we need to select a wand. The only wand we have is this earth wand, and we'll select it. And we're going to begin a ritual which will summon an earth mage initiate. And then there we go. Now, also, we're going to need another bed for this person to sleep in, a cot. So I'm just going to click on this cot, and I'm going to push B to build a copy and put one right there. All right, so now we have a student. However, this student can't do any classes because we don't have a classroom and we don't have a teaching stone, or a learning stone. So what's this person going to do? Well, I want to show really quickly in priorities. Adam is our new student, and unfortunately, initiates, they're only good at going to school. They can't do very much at all for us. They can attune to artifacts, they can haul, and they can repair They can do medical rest, bump that up, and they can take care of beasts. That's it. So their main job is going to be hauling, which is good because we're about to give them some jobs for hauling when we queue up our storage. Now there's a bunch of trees that have emerged. I'm just going to set gathering on these. Hunt, hunt, good. So at least the student can pick things up and haul it around. And they're hauling beds over to the classroom, but that's it. They're like, well, okay, now what am I going to do? And they're not going to do anything. So we researched, put stuff here. That's done. So now I'm going to start building some chests. So I can go to build and I can build storage. And I can't build a chest without smoke stick. And smoke stick you get from smoke reed. So I'm just going to crank up the priority on these smoke sticks for gathering. And are there any over here that we want to get? No. Okay. So the student can't do anything. So we need to say, okay, well, this is bad. And let's start planning out what we're going to do. Build your floor all the way out on both sides just to get ready. And we're out of wood already. Yikes. Terrifying proposition. Gather that. Now we're not queuing up a lot of wands right now, and you can see the wands are just sitting there because we can't really bring in that many students. Oh, I think I accidentally shrunk this. I did not mean to do that. Enlarge that back up. I pushed the wrong button on that. Boom. Okay. Now, the learning stone, we could just build it, you know, down here and have class down here for now, if we really wanted to. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we want to have class in an actual classroom, so we're going to kind of wait a moment on that. We could also actually just put the learning stone in this room right here, but it would block these crafting stations. We'd have to do a little bit of surgery there. So we're going to wait and build a classroom up here. Now, there's all kinds of options you can do. You could move this wall over, make this room bigger. You could put the beds in the basement and make this a classroom if you wanted to do that. You could put the classroom in the basement. There's so many choices that you have. I'm just not in an absolute rush for this because I want to make my second floor the place where we build up a classroom. Now, I'm going to just remind myself in the Book of Rooms about a classroom. So a basic classroom doesn't have any special requirements. It just needs a learning stone. So that's actually pretty encouraging because that's pretty simple. And in fact, if we wanted to, watch this, I can move this station over right next to this station, and then I'll wait for that to happen. Done. Rustic Gourmet is done. And then what I can do is I can either move this wall over here just a little bit and make this room here a classroom. However, that will be noisy for the bedroom. Or I can move this wall here and try to squeeze a classroom in the middle. I think, though, what I'm going to do I'm going to click on rooms, and the austere bedroom, I don't believe that the austere bedroom, yeah, it doesn't need to be silent. So we can leave it as is, and I'm going to build construction wall. I'm just going to kind of move this over like so, and then put a archway here like that. I'm then going to move this wall torch to the back wall. And temporarily move this wall torch to this side wall. And why am I doing that? Because I'm going to demolish this and just click all of this up like so. So this is a schoolroom, and this is a schoolroom. Now, if I click on the room lens and then click on this middle room, you see down here in the bottom left, underneath room, you can click room goal. And you can then click select a goal in the window that pops up. And I want this to be a classroom. I want this to be a basic classroom. So I'm going to select this goal. It tells you what the size is to fit all of the instruments that you need. It needs to be 3 wide, 3 deep, and 4 tall, I believe. All of which we already have. Here we go. And I'm going to let that go. And if I go back to this, watch this, I'm going to pause it. I've set the goal. So it says room goal basic classroom. And it's telling you what it's missing. It's missing the learning stone. So all I need to do is build a learning stone in this room. And I could put it back here in the corner. Or I could put it right here. I think this is just fine like that. And then I'm going to move this wall torch. No, not the cot. The wall torch. Over here. And this wall torch, I'm going to move. No, not that. Sorry. Wall torch. Move. There. Perfect. So it's a new day. The fog has moved. You can see we have 3 days until it claims us, but that's okay. And here we go. We are building the classroom. And it is a classroom. Look, the wallpaper has changed, and it's now a classroom because all it needs was this learning stone. And now they can hold class in this room. There is no more idling because they can do this, but everybody is sleeping in their appropriate bed. Now, if we want to bring in more students, we're going to need more beds. But this room, as is, cannot hold more beds. So what I'm going to do is click on the cot. I'm just going to say build a copy, and we could start moving in some people into the basement area if we wanted to, just to provide a couple of extra beds. We also want to go ahead and start building some chests. Now, the smoke sticks, I believe they got claimed by the fog, so we're going to need to repel the fog But to do that, we're going to need some more wood. And for that, we're going to need to wait for some of these trees to grow. And that is totally fine, because what we have here is a school that's on the rise. We have a bedroom, we have a classroom. We are now making wands, and we're doing research here. And we also have done some research to build chests, and we're rocking and rolling. We recruited our first student even. We're going to keep going, build up the second floor, make even more specialized rooms. We researched the enchantophone so we can make some recreation. We can start cooking with the gruel pot. We can build a better bedroom. We can even build a medical room to heal up our people. And once they get healed, we can go down here and start exploring the Underschool. Everyone, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you're still finding this series to be useful and fun. I'll check you in the next one. Take care.